Everyone, we'll go ahead and get started. So welcome to M2 Technologies Manufacturing Power Hour, What's New in Inventor 2021 Part 1. My name is Jasenia. I am the event coordinator here at M2 Technologies. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel, not in the chat panel. We'll probably answer questions at the end of the webinar. And if there are any questions that we won't be able to answer for you today, we will make sure to follow up with you. Also, a recorded version of this webinar will be available on our website and YouTube channel within a couple of days. You'll receive an email with a link once that's available. And before we jump into the webinar, I just want to introduce M2 Technologies to you all. So M2 Technologies is a consulting firm focused on productivity, improving workflow, improving manufacturing process efficiency, and reducing manufacturing costs. Our mission is simple: to help manufacturers design better projects and increase market share by leveraging the industry-leading engineering, design, process automation, and data management technologies. Using generative design and best-in-class manufacturing and asset management processes, our team of industry experts can help you become more sustainable, more profitable, and more prepared to meet the demands of urbanization in a rapidly changing world. We're committed to helping clients realize the business benefits of BIM and asset management quickly and economically by facilitating the use of innovative technologies and processes, whether it's streamlining your product design, maximizing asset longevity, or optimizing your processes. Our team is one of the most experienced groups of manufacturing technology consulting professionals. We partner with world leaders such as Autodesk, Panzora, Bluebeam, and Eagle Point to utilize innovative technologies and methodologies to empower sustainable manufacturing and overcome local challenges. Our vision is to reduce the environmental impact of urbanization by helping the manufacturing industry to design, produce, and operate better projects more efficiently. To help support the industry with these demands of urbanization and manufacturing, we offer a wide range of services, including CAD management, generative design, CIO advisory services, and much, much more. Now, Don Warner will hop on to take you through today's webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks for the introduction. And thank you for everybody for attending today. What I'd like to talk about is some of the things that are involved in the new update here on Inventor 2021. The agenda for today here is to talk about 5 real areas of the product. There was, quite frankly, too much information in the release to try to jam it into one session. So we broke it out into a part 1 and a part 2 to follow. The areas that I'm going to talk about today is the new experience to 2021, the new UI, dark theme change that they have made. There's also some options of file saving, some iLogic capture information, and also some property panel tabs that can be adjusted on the screen and docked. So some nice features from the interface experience itself. And through the product and productivity and performance area, it's focusing on mostly improving large assembly performance, how you can select large amounts of information and turn off visibility, highlighting becomes quicker, load times become quicker, and really trying to make a steady improvement on performance. And it's something they strive on every year. It seems that 2021 here is a nice performance increase. And it's something, if you have not already downloaded the product, I suggest downloading it and test some of your data sets in that release compared to the release that you're using right now. Again, moving on to some more of the enhancements or improvements, they've added some drawing automation, allows you to quickly generate your IDWs or DWGs with preset views. making it quicker for the user to generate a file and then quickly get into the documentation area of that product. The next topic is a little bit on the AnyCAD feature for Revit. What we've noticed is the Revit models are now becoming more important to the workflow with Inventor, focusing on some of the custom fabrication companies that work with the construction industry, how we can use or leverage the Revit models inside Inventor to create your designs. And in the last segment is a little bit on the tolerance analysis that they've basically promoted and improved and now is offered into the product design suite, product design manufacturing collection that is 1D linear stack up. And again, we'll get into that a little bit. So I'd like to talk a little bit more about the experience. As you can see, this is a couple of screenshots that I've taken from one's from the application options. Another one is from saving process. The application options is allowing you now to basically preset your changes. You have now options to set how you want the save to happen. If you want a migration happen, maybe your data set is pulling in some old data that you don't want necessarily saved to the new release. If anybody's experienced that, if you save data to a new release, it's no longer usable in the feature format in the older release. It's a migration to a newer database, and this is something that's happened throughout the years. The next areas talks about user edits. That's pretty self-explanatory. If you make changes to the features or anything in the model, it's going to prompt you to change it. There's a new API change in here. Not sure how many of you are actually using API. Maybe you're loading in some different third-party apps or anything that might be changing stuff in the background. This will allow you to make those save changes to those too. Manual updates. Pretty self-explanatory. The file resolution path, this is a different one. If you're loading in a file from Inventor that it's not recognizing the path that's in the workspace and it finds it in another location, you can actually tell it to save and it will remember that location. The save dialog box, just basically if you look at the screenshot at the bottom and over to the very right, there is now a saved state column. This is basically Inventor trying to explain to you why it's asking you to save this file. A lot of times I've had support questions where people have asked, I don't understand why Inventor is asking to save this file. What we've done here, or Autodesk has done, is made a column to try to identify why they're asking for that file to be saved. It's kind of a nice feature. And then moving on, they're now introducing a dark theme background. Basically, any of you who've worked in the AutoCAD platforms have always had a dark background. This is something that's been asked for the Inventor team to put in, and now it is in there. You can access this through your application options dialog box in the display tab. And what it will prompt you for a message basically saying this is in a tech preview. And what that basically means is they're basically putting this out in this release to get more feedback on the users, whether they like it or not. Simply with that message, they're basically giving them the right to pull the background in a further release. So again, it's a tech preview. Dialog box over on the right is a newer feature for any of you using iLogic. What this will allow you to do is capture geometry in a view, and that capture state allows you to grab that information and work inside the iLogic code. Request for this was mostly for dimensioning or balloons or any type of node attachment. So, and one of the features that I really like about this new release with Inventor is the properties window, or what used to in some features is the edit feature dialog box. What you see on the screen on the left is the dialog box that's present on the screen. If you had ever the need to move dialog boxes around because you're trying to get to parts of the area of your model that you're trying to edit, what it is now allowing you to dock it to the left next to the model browser, giving you a separate tab. Now, this does not affect all dialog boxes. This will only affect a few commands. Some commands like fillet or chamfer, which you have multiple picks, will actually give you the conventional dialog box that you've seen before. But it's a nice feature. You can kind of move it in and out at your leisure. And what I'd like to show you now here is a video that Autodesk produced on this. And just be a couple of minutes. So I basically just switched over to my Inventor. Wanted to just show you basically just the areas that they're referring to here in the application options. In the save area, this is the dialog box that I was talking about. Allows you to set your default prompts to how you want to save or dictate what information is saved in those files. And over here is where you would set the UI for the doc release. And this will actually give you a dark mode in all of your files, your part, assembly, and presentation files. And I just wanted to show you here something I saw in the video that I failed to mention. But if I were to come in here and just say extrude something, and if you come in here and you edit the feature, this is the properties dialog box that pops up. And what's nice is you can simply slide it into here and out whenever you feel like it. It's a nice feature, but one of the things too, they've actually incorporated a rename function up here too, that you can actually come in here and rename the feature that you want. You can actually come in here and rename the feature sketch. And then over here, you have an OK button. And if you happen to hit the cancel, everything gets reset. But you can see down here that you have, oh, it didn't rename that. I just don't think I hit the save and correct. But anyway, you can see that it renames it there. And what I'd like to do now is talk a little bit more about some of the performance improvements that Inventor is now offering into large assembly. Large assembly is something that has been very, very much a concern of Autodesk Inventor for quite some time. Things keep getting bigger and more complex, and Autodesk is basically trying to mitigate the wait times for load, highlighting, selection. It's extremely demanding. In these screenshots that you see here, this is basically when all said and done, there's about a 10,000 component or occurrence assembly here. It's about 1,500 unique parts, and the load time that you'll see on the video that's coming later will basically, that is done in real time, allows you to get into inserting subs faster, gives you quicker control once placed. Also, down the bottom, it talks about if any of you were working with your view reps, trying to create view reps of large assemblies, you're selecting parts to turn visibility on and off, you would get a pretty significant lag time. Now they basically quicken that by a significant amount of performance increase. Your hardware does play a role in it, and you have certifications and video cards. You want to make sure your hardware is up to snuff. It doesn't have to be necessarily top of the line, but good equipment. Along with this release, you'll notice that this will have much faster responses to it. Another thing about the performance with assemblies is faster updates on adaptive components, real time. Some of the times if you have a lot of fasteners in an adaptive state, the updates would take a long time. You get the Microsoft spinning wheel, it would sit there for minutes per se, and it eventually would update. In this release, noticing that the video will show how quickly the adaptive fasteners will generate on the screen. And the last thing too, which is really important, is the drawing view creation for large assemblies. They've also increased how the performance is on generating views, generating the renderings. You know, again, your performance hardware plays a role in this, but as long as the hardware is adequate, you'll notice that there's a significant increase. So what I'd like to do is just play a short video on that and take a look at how quick these updates happen. So again, with the performance, hopefully you'll have an opportunity to download and install it, and definitely test out what you think your current data sets do as far as the performance with your current release of Inventor to 2021. I would be interested to see if anybody says that the performance is not better than what they've been seeing. So with that, we'll move on to talking about the drawing automation part. The improvements in automation, people think, iLogic or some type of custom code. I said, well, in a way, what they're trying to introduce is a way you can speed up how you can generate your drawing views. In the past, the dialog box here is just simply looking at your templates directory inside the Inventor Start New command. But over on the right, you'll see some screenshots where it says use template, or there's a size, looks like a piston. What these are sheet formats, and what Autodesk is trying to introduce is basically a custom sheet view or views on how you want to document your products. You may want to have a specific sheet format for parts. You may want to have a specific sheet format for assemblies. Same for presentation files. Basically, it will dictate what views you want, base, ortho, auxiliary, rendered isometrics. All this stuff can be set up in a file, and then basically you take that file and you either create a directory in your templates folder, or you put it in one of the folders that are there, and you can pick a file, start with this, and it will go ahead and ask you for a document. And once you tell it that document, whether it's a part or an assembly, it will go ahead and, to its best of its ability, pop it into this detailed view orientation that you have already set up. It also supports flat patterns. You can have also parts list and assembly information put on these documents. And the video that is going to be shown, you'll see towards the back end where they use iLogic to basically control spacing and some other features. So for those of you who are avid iLogic users, an area that you could basically enhance for speed purposes. So with that, I'm just going to show you, and then I'll break into Inventor and get into a little more detail on it. But I just want to show you what they've done for sheet formats by playing this video. So we're back in here in Inventor, and basically what I just wanted to show you here is that in the templates folder, you will see that basically the default Autodesk ones are creating these generic sheet formats. What I did was created a folder here for seminar, and I just threw a couple of different ones in here. One that had some views here, the other one that doesn't. But down the bottom, it's just a way you could set preset views, and basically selecting one of these preset views to start a file with. It asks me for the document name, and this is where you just come in and choose a file. It's asking me for a second document name because I have an isometric view in here. Just a styles conflict there, but this is really what the whole process is to allow you to just generate views relatively quickly. You know, you can add a lot more to this, information, the notes, you know, if there's an assembly file, you could have a parts list in there. So again, what they're trying to do is put more of a launching tool in your hands to allow you not to have to create views, document your file, get it more in a ready to go state. Switch back to the PowerPoint. And the next area that I just like to kind of go over is an area that's been talked about a lot. A lot of the companies that are dealing in a working with a construction environment, custom fabricators are looking for ways they can leverage existing design data, trying to improve the communication between Revit and Inventor and making it more of a round trip. So what 2021 offers is allow the ability to reference in a Revit model, and the dialog box that's over on the left, it shows the import process to Inventor. But if you notice that in that dialog box, it's picking up all of the views that are in the Revit model. So what it's a nice feature, it allows you to strip down and select the view that only contains the information that you need. If you have to, you could work with whoever the other company is with Revit on the end, is basically develop a view for you for just the information that you need. In this case, it was the center part of the model that's being imported into Inventor, and that's the dialog box that's down there in the lower left. What this allows you to do is bring in the actual file as a reference model. Then again, it's a solid model that allows you to then place your Inventor data around the model. In this case, this example, it is the awning at the bottom. They'll be doing some edits to the model there in Revit, and as you open it up in Inventor, that model will update, forcing you to make changes to the Inventor data. And in the back end, once the Inventor data is complete, you can then round trip it back out as the Revit model to send it to the Revit client. What I'd like to do now is to show you that video explaining the process. All right, so last area I'd like to just briefly talk about is something that has been it's been in the works for Inventor for a while, but now this is a tool that is now available as the product design and manufacturing collection. It is the Inventor Tolerance Analysis add-on environment. It's a new where you have to basically get into the environments, fire up the add-in, and what it allows you to do is, if you're using 3D annotations in your part models, this product will work with the information that's already present. And if you don't have it present in the models, it allows you to add it in and work with it within the calculations. What you see in the lower right is basically a part that has some geometric tolerancing added onto it. What the program is, it's a 1D tolerance stack up. Long time ago, when I was in the design field, we had a couple of guys that basically did this full time for our models. We were doing rotary feed-throughs for the vacuum industry, the semiconductor industry, and it was my introduction into geometric tolerancing design and understanding really how critical this part plays, form, fit, and function. Because you have what we call least material conditions and maximum material conditions. And what the software allows you to do is basically get in and run these calculations and make sure that everything is going to fit and fall within the design of the envelope that you've detailed. And if there's issues or problems, there are worst case scenarios that are run. It will identify those errors, and you can actually adjust the values for these tolerances inside to correct and get the model back to where you need it. It has, I think, a lot of use. I definitely suggest going on to your account if this is something of interest, downloading it, installing it. There's a website that gives you some tutorials to how to generally get a good overview on how to run the calculations. What I'd like to do is just show you the video on that. All right, so what I'll just do is close down these. I just wanted to show you this here real quick. This is the geometric tolerancing information that the parts, again, you do not have to apply this stuff, but basically it's in the annotate area where you can actually apply the feature control claims to the faces, edges, holes, however you want to put it in, and it will intelligently start to build these, knowing what information is applying to the surface or edge. And as you put these on each one of your parts, you can actually go ahead and run the stack up through the tolerance analysis tool. And that is all that I had today. Sorry, wrong slideshow. I think that's it, Jess. That's all I had.
Okay, great. That's fine. Oh. We do have a few questions
okay.
that we were asked throughout. Okay, so starting off with the first one, is the UI so different from previous versions? I think he's asking perhaps why. Or go ahead.
If I'm understanding that correctly, the UI, it's going to be the same tab to base. Not really anything's changed from 18, 19, 20, or 21 as far as the ribbon look. It's just really the dark theme that they're trying to introduce on that. And if I
because James says that he wants to do a refresher course and 2021 isn't available, so I'm assuming he'd like to know if it's different. So
no,
we can take the refresher course from a previous version, is what I'm assuming.
No. I believe the it's not the UI change. So when they first introduced the ribbon, it's nothing like that where you went from a drastic change from drop-down menus to a ribbon-based. It should be the same.
Gotcha, great. Okay, second question. We have 4 questions. So second question, any interoperability for large assemblies with gaming engines?
That I do not know. I would need to talk to Autodesk on that. If we could table that one or get the information.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd be more than happy to get
James,
get
we're going to take down James's information. We have it on file, so James will be reaching out to you once we get that answer, if that's okay with you. Third question is iLogic a third party like iConstruct or
no.
OOTB? Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So iLogic is basically an embedded tool that's inside Inventor that allows you to basically capture states of models and build interactive code right through the Inventor application. So it's not anything, it is an add-in, it's something you can disable or enable, but it's not something that you have to go out somewhere and purchase or anything like that. There's a lot of information on the Autodesk website for iLogic. They'll give you a good look if that's something you want to, if you're interested in looking at. If you have any questions, by all means, you can reach out to us. We can definitely help you with that.
Great, thank you. And the last question is, in a Revit model, is it categorized as special equipment, or can a user decide what category it is?
I'm not a Revit expert, but I believe what I'd like to do is we'll get this one tabled too, because I'll talk to the Revit team on this. But I believe the information in Revit is defined by a family code or something along that lines, where it's almost like in better terms, not like an AutoCAD block, but it's a category that you can put the information in. I'm not sure if I'm answering it right now, but I could.
Yeah, we can table that one as well. Actually, it was James who asked that too. So, okay. So we can definitely reach out. Brian said Omni class. Does that ring a bell? Maybe that's what it's called. I'm not sure. But regardless, James, we will look into that with our Revit team, and we will reach out to you to confirm that question. But so far, Brian, thank you. He said good info. Thanks. Nice job. We appreciate you hopping on and watching the webinar. So folks, if you have any other questions, please be sure to ask them in the questions box in your GoToWebinar control panel. We do have a couple more minutes, so if there's any other questions you have, please feel free to ask. James, thank you so much. James said nice job, so thank you, James. Sorry, go ahead, Don.
I was going to say, in a side note, like I said when we first started talking about the webinar, the drawings, the parts, the assemblies, a little bit on tube and pipe and frame generator will basically be covered in the upcoming one in a couple of weeks. It was just way too much information to cram in to a 45-minute segment, so we decided to break them out.
Exactly. We actually will be having a part 2, like Don just said, on July 17th. So you will be receiving an invitation to that as well if you folks want to learn more and listen to the second part of what's new in Inventor. But also, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We're available to you, and we're available to ask or answer any questions that you may have for us. And a quick reminder that this webinar will be available on our YouTube and on our website within a couple days. Since it is a holiday here in the US, you'll probably be getting that email or that recording on Monday. But it doesn't seem like we have any more questions. Let me just check one more time. We don't. So folks, thank you so much for hopping on. If you are in the US, we hope that you have a great long weekend and a happy 4th of July. If you're joining us from elsewhere, we hope that you have a great rest of your week. Don, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And have a great one, folks. Take care.